What's up, Black Diamond Club? Surprise live video here for you. It is 4:08 Eastern Standard Time. This is kind of cool. Let me check this out. View your latest live stream stats. I don't know if I want that. Yeah. No, I don't want that. A gaming streamer. I don't want that. That was weird. I was looking at someone else. Hey, everybody, get rolling in here. Get rolling in. I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes so that your notifications can notify you. If you are on with me, please hit invite. Invite all of your BDC friends. They might be working. They might be not working. Maybe they're just screwing around. What is up, Frankie Sock? Good to see you, buddy. We're going to do a Money Matters recap for all of you who are not there. Oh, I'm dropping stuff. I can't pick that up. Good thing it's not my notes. We're going to be giving away a lot of cool stuff today because it's a surprise live. So stick around, put your headphones in, listen while you work, do whatever you got to do. Come back and watch this later on, but you can't win if you're not on with me live at the time that we break these out. Invite your friends. We've got everybody pouring in just a minute and a half. We've got 10 of you. Pretty good for a surprise live. We've got Dan Ceballos on. We've got a lot of people. Hey, Frankie, these are just the $1,000 worth of the glasses, only half of the pair. You got to see the transparent ones. Half the people like the transparent ones, half the people like this one. People are split on what they like, and so that's good. At least I can please half the people half the time, depending on what frames I'm rocking. Hey, just played some golf this morning at the new club, new group. Indiana guys are a little cheaper. We came in second place. My team was 20 under par. Not bad. Winning score was 23 under par. Took home a little bit of money, but the problem is they only play $10 in. But there were 52 people playing today, so it was not a bad thing. Hey, today I'm going to be giving away a Money Matters recording if you stick around. I'm going to be giving away some of these rockin' Black Diamond Club tumblers. These are perfect for your bourbon. If you are, well, let me get this way. Bourbon, if you're in Louisville, if you're a bourbon fan, you could put wine in this. Keep it cold all day long. You could put a little bit of beer in there if you wanted. I'm going to be giving away a sales recording. I've got Mile High tickets, and for the first time, I have Chiro Fest tickets as well. You're going to want to come out to the Pacific Northwest and join us at Chiro Fest. Let's get it going. We got 17 of you in here. You snooze, you lose. A lot of people have been asking about Money Matters. We have the sales, the recording ready to roll for you. Here's one of the things somebody was asking me. Kim Burkus was asking me the other day, when are you going to start live streaming the workshops? To which I replied, I'm not. Because look, if I live stream the workshops, people are going to not go. They're going to just stop going to the workshops because they'll figure, well, I'll just catch it on live stream. To which Kim said, that's ridiculous, because the magic is being there with you and Lacey. That's the best part. To which I said, fair enough. I mean, I'm not always right, and I have really smart people that are around me. That doesn't mean I'm going to live stream it, but that means I'll definitely consider that. We're already giving the audios, and that was kind of scary because I figured a lot of you are just going to not go because you'll figure you'll get the audio later on. Here's one of the things that you don't know is that everybody that was at Money Matters and who then subsequently registered for the sales workshop, they got the audio for free. So it pays to go, and it pays to be decisive. Remember that the one common quality, the one common trait amongst all successful people, the top 100 CEOs, was decisiveness. You want to start being successful, then start being decisive. Don't sit there and be like, I should get the Money Matters. I shared at Money Matters that one of the things that I'm very particular about is that I do not like to be around indecisive people. When it comes lunchtime and you can't figure out where we're going to eat, I'm beyond frustrated, and you won't get to hang out with me for very long because I do not like indecisive people. So right now, you're thinking I should get the Money Matters recording. Then click on the dang link. I don't know where it is, but get out of the live, find the link, and buy the recording. You're thinking I should go to the marketing workshop in Boca. Well, guess what? Tickets are flying out of here. We have limited space in the room. We have limited space in the hotel. And I think the hotel for our room block is already sold out. Decisive people win every time. You're going to try and say, I'm going to decide this later on when it's a better time to think about it. And it's never going to be a better time to think about it. And then what's going to happen is you're going to end up missing out. And that would be bad. You don't want to miss out. So be decisive. Jump in on that. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let me check my notes. Brian, right. Okay. Here's what we talked about at Money Matters. I'm going to give you a real quick synopsis here. We're going to throw in some prizes. But first thing that we did is Lacey shared our story. Now, some of you have heard our story, but listen, I think it's very helpful for you all to just position yourselves and know that we have not always had an easy ride, an easy run, that our success came hard, that we had to work, and that we set the stage that we were going to share with you exactly the tools that we utilized in the past and currently utilize. One of them is being decisive. Another one is not being around indecisive people, controlling your environment, setting yourself up for success, getting rid of knuckleheads that are doing nothing but trying to drag you down, knocking out the haters, utilizing the haters as fuel, right? Here's one of a side note. I saw Ryan Serhant, Sell It Like Serhant, Ryan Serhant. He posted the other day on Instagram. He actually posted an email that somebody wrote, and he shared that he gets one of these hater emails probably once or twice a day. And he shared that he puts those emails in a separate folder called Fuel, and that he goes back and looks at those emails. I mean, and this email was scathing. Somebody that doesn't even know him is like just ripping him to shreds for no reason, because that's what people do. There's jealous people out there, and sometimes they might be your spouse. They might be your family. They might be your mom and dad. They might be your friends. They might be your colleagues. They might be people that you have a very difficult time letting go. But I don't, because I like being successful more than I like grinding. I don't like grinding. Hey, Dan Bay, just practice up today. Just wanted to share, if you came on late, my first tournament out, not tournament, but Wednesday men's league game out with the boys. My team 20 under, dude. Second place today, took home a little bit of money, getting ready for the BDC C4C golf challenge coming up. Hey, by the way, hey, Dan, could you go ahead and post the link here for the upcoming Close for Chiro Masterclass? I'm super pumped about that. I'm going to be out there with Dan, Jennifer, and Shawn. We're going to play some golf on Thursday, but then Friday, we're going to kick off Close for Chiro Masterclass. I'm super pumped to be there, and I'm going to be sharing 40 minutes of something. We'll figure out what we're going to do, but I would love to have you guys there. Let's have a huge BDC showing. Let's sit down with these three who are geniuses at closing, and let's learn. You can never, ever. That's another one of the things we talked about. Invest in yourself. Be decisive. Don't say, oh, I've heard about it, I should go. Register right now. I almost said your ass. I'm going to say your ass. Register your ass for Close for Chiros. Let's get it done. I will be there. Love to see you, love to share with you. We'll have a great time, because when Dan and I get together, it's always a great time. All right, so we shared our story, and we gave you we set the stage for giving you some tools and some tips for what it is that we do in order to be successful. Next, I walked you through what we call the 6 P's of goal setting. It's nothing special. It's not that we invented it. You can find this stuff on the internet. But what we talked about is, one, how we set goals. And so we want to set goals, short-term, mid-term, long-term, nothing magical there. But we talked about the fact that we want to have moving targets. We talked about how we don't run to first base and try and land on first base. You're allowed to run through first base, right? You don't swing at the golf ball. You swing through the golf ball. You don't go for a goal. You don't go to 20,000 or 40,000 or 80,000 in collections. You go through that as a benchmark, because what happens if we're trying to land on a particular goal, as you get close, you tend to slow down. And so as we get closer, 50%, 75, 80%, the trick here is, are you tracking? And if you're tracking, then you slide that goal out a little further. And then you're tracking and you slide that goal out a little further. I was talking with Jay Abraham yesterday. We're revamping our private coaching offerings. We're going to go for a whole other level. And we're going to begin to offer on my side of the scale. On Lacey's, we're going to have sort of a variable fee schedule based off of how much you're making and where you're trying to go. And then we're going to look at whether or not with what you're making now, because listen, if you're making 500,000 and you're trying to get to $1 million, The concepts and ideas that we give to you are far more valuable than if you're making 50,000 and you're trying to get to 100, right? And so we're getting this set up. Again, that's one of the great things, on the phone with Jay, he's dropping knowledge, he's dropping gold on me. We're transferring this onto you to make sure that we help you to get to where you're trying to go, as he helps me to get to where I'm trying to go. All right, so what we said is we're going to make sliding goals, and we're going to do these in 6 categories. The first category is purpose. This is like who you are. Who do you want to be? Who are you, and what do you have to offer the world? What do you stand for? What's your purpose? And by when do you want to do these things, right? What do you want to offer the world? And we found out through the workshop that a lot of you actually struggled with this. Like, you've never even thought about, what's my purpose being here? The purpose of Black Diamond Club is not to help you to make as much money as possible. And that's what most people say, which is exactly why they don't get anywhere. When I ask you, you're at 500,000 and you want to get to 1 million and you want me to work with you, then I ask you, what would your life look like if you were at 1 million? And most people just say, well, a lot better than it does now. And that's the wrong answer. That's the surest way to get me to not work with you. We need clarity and goals so that we can get help, mentorship, support, accountability, and helping us to get there. The next are personal goals. These are things that you want to do for yourself. Maybe you want to lose weight. You want to be a scratch golfer. Maybe you want to race cars. Maybe you would like to skydive. Maybe you would like to climb a certain mountain, ascend to certain heights. Maybe you have personal goals. Maybe you have hobbies or things that you like doing. They could also be, personally, you might want to be a better wife or a better husband. And when we worked on that and we chunked those out, next we had our professional goals. And, I'm always harping on you to make sure that you have professional goals. That's the whole thing. You get more money, not because, I want you to have a lot of money, but ultimately my agenda is I want you to have a lot of money so you can support the profession that you're in. Because that's what we're missing out there. The richest people in all professions are actually the ones that are not supporting and giving. They're closed off. They're on an island. And what happened is that they found out that the way to be successful was to isolate themselves and be on an island. And so they're not giving back. That's why we created BDC, so that you were not isolated, so that you could see that there were a lot of people that were finding success, and at the same time, so that you could give back. Join IFCO, support ASRF. Support a chiropractic college. Do something, right? Do something to give back. And maybe you want to do more than just give back. So maybe you want to serve on a board. Maybe you want to serve on your state board. Maybe you want to lead your state. Maybe you want to speak at some of these events. Those will all be professional goals. Next were people goals. Who would you like to meet? Who would you like to be closer to? I got a couple of you guys that shared after Money Matters. It was so sweet, so touching. Shots of your people goals. And you had said, who do I want to be closer to? And you had put Shawn and Lacey. That's awesome, right? And so maybe you want to be closer to Shawn and Lacey. Maybe you want to be closer to Dan Bay and Sean Rundle and Jennifer and the Close for Chiro Cruise. Maybe you want to be closer to Danny Knowles, or maybe Donnie Epstein. Maybe you want to be closer to the people that you see as mentors, right? And so those would be people goals. And how are you going to get there, and by when? Then we had prosperity goals. Those are great, right? How much money do you want to make? Money, exact amounts of money. What do you want to do with that money? Do you want to buy a boat or buy a house? Like, what exactly do you want to do prosperity wise? And then lastly, play goals. All of the fun stuff. Maybe you want to buy a jet ski or a yacht or a G5. These fun things. You want new golf clubs, or you want to buy a golf cart tricked out, looks like a Hummer, whatever it is. We put those all down. Then what we did, we time-stamped everything. Right? So everything was timestamped. So we went through and we were like, great. And we didn't write these as I want. We wrote them in the present tense. I am, my purpose. My purpose is I stand for a world. Not I want to stand for a world. I stand for a world. Personal goals. I go on a date night twice a month. Not I want to, because then they're just want tos and they're out there in fantasy land and whatever. Nobody's that excited about it. We wrote them in the present, but then we timestamped them. By when would we get them done? And then came the hard part, because up to now you're like, yeah, whatever, dude. I've done goal setting 19 million times. Oh no, you didn't do goal setting BDC way, because the next thing that we did is we wrote down every reason why you won't get there. Well, that was tough. because you say, listen, I want to lose 10 pounds, but every time I lose 5 pounds and I get disinterested and then I eat chocolate cake and then it's over. Or I go to the gym for 2 weeks or 4 weeks and then, and then travel and then I'm out, right? And we wrote down every reason why you will not make it. And then we wrote down every reason why you must make it. And the reason why we do this is, one, when you know every obstacle in advance, then we can plan, right? You don't have the money, you don't have the resources, you don't have the mentorship, you don't have the know-how. Well, you know what you're missing, then read a dang book or hire a coach or figure it out or get a loan or leverage somebody else that does have the resource. Partner with somebody that has the money, or partner with somebody that's already doing it in a different target market. There are so many ways that you could figure this out once you know what the obstacles are. You better invite some people on this call because we're on fire right now and everybody's going to catch this on the replay. And just like Kim Burkus said, it's not the same when you're not here with us live. And then we wrote down every reason why you must, why this has to happen. Because frankly, if there's no real must behind it, there's no drive, there's no impetus, I'm not interested in it, it's not going to happen. Many of you have a lot of stuff that you want to do, but there's no must. And so I got to tell you, scratch it off your list until you can find a must strong enough that will take you there. Otherwise, it's just like, that would be nice. I want to have a 60-inch television. Well, why must you have that? Can't really think of a reason why. Well, then you're not going to have it. And if you can't bring out the must of why that's got to happen, then you will not bring it into fruition. This is really tough on those play goals, friends, because you've got to figure out why you must have a jet ski. And we talked about our personal lives, how Lacey drives that Porsche Cayenne and why that became a must. We talked about all of the things that we do very openly and why those were must, what those brought into our lives. We talked about my country club membership and how I was the shoe shine boy when I was 16 and 17 years old and how that to me signified success. And so when I roll up every day to that country club and walk in, I anchor myself and I tell myself I'm not the shoe shine boy. I don't care what they're saying on the internet. I have made it what I wanted since I was 16 years old. I am now one of those guys that comes in and they shine my shoes. I make sure I tip well because I was there in their shoes before. And I always tell them too, I used to be the shoe shine boy. There is a way out of here for you. And listen, if you play your trajectory right, if you get clarity of vision, you someday, if you wanted, you someday will be coming in here and living in this role, which I dreamt of. I dreamt of that as I put Cordovan shoe shine polish on those shoes and shine, shine, shine. You ever see Chris Rock at Red Lobster? Scrape, 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 scrape back there. And that was because I had a job. But now I don't have a job. That's why there's no glory in the grind. Because what I do, this is not a job. You guys give me money to have fun. And people give you money to have fun. But the reason why we're successful is because we have clarity of vision. And then the last step, you must sit down and share those goals with somebody that will hold you accountable. And what we prefer is that is your significant other. And we discovered that, oh man, at that point, Money Matters was on, because that is a point of resistance where so many of you are not on the same page with your spouse. You don't know what they want out of life. You don't know what their purpose goals are. You don't know what their prosperity goals are. You don't know what their people goals are. That's why you're having issues in the relationship, and they don't know yours. And check this out. Oh, this was a gold bomb that dropped at Money Matters. They don't have to be the same. Lacey and I's goals are not the same. And the marriage and the relationship is not about us compromising to figure out how we compromise to reach each other's mutual goals. That's not what we do. The relationship is about us figuring out how we can together support each other so that individually we can reach our individual goals, which only makes us stronger as a couple. And so at that point, it was on. People realize in that first night when we took that break, many people had their spouses in Money Matters, which is why we recommend that you do that. You can bring your spouse to marketing, but not as impactful. You should bring your team to marketing. Marcia Schaefer just posted up that $5,000 to bring her team to marketing workshop. And her husband, who at first said, "You're going to hire Shawn Dill to do what?" said, "If that's what it takes, then we get there." That's decisiveness, my friends. Then the next thing we did, all right, We worked through our goal setting. We mapped that all out. We banged that out. We talked about money and relationships. We talked about how business problems are personal problems in disguise. And we began to give you tools of how you get on the same page with your significant other. We talked about how important that was. And we talked about tools of defining roles, being clear, sitting down and making sure that everybody was on the same page. Again, that doesn't mean compromise. It doesn't mean that you want to buy Louboutin shoes and I want to buy a new golf club. So how do we compromise? No, the thing was, you want Louboutin shoes, I want golf clubs. How do we both get that? And how do we figure that out? Now, sometimes it was tough because one person wants to save every penny and the other person wants to reinvest it. Right. And so when we have to have tools of how we're going to work through that to honor each individual, but overall to move the relationship forward. Then in came Andrew Norman, and he dropped nuclear bombs on the group as he worked us through the stages of development of a business. Now, I was touting this as in comes Andrew Norman, the smartest financial person that I know, and you thought he was going to talk about life insurance and mutual funds and investing. Oh no, he didn't talk about that at all. He talked about the life cycle of a business. And he began to show us how, because all of his clients are ultra successful business people, and he's been looking at these commonalities, not to mention that he's built 2 phenomenal businesses that he sold in his lifetime. He is 37 years old. He was showing those of you that got to hang out with him, I believe this guy's had somewhere around $2 million worth of cars in his life. Currently, I think he's rocking the Lambo. I think he's got a couple of Ferraris. He has a BMW that I've never even seen. I don't even know where he got that car. I've never seen this car. It's a station wagon. And he's got a Jeep. He races his Ferraris, actually, the race cars. Pretty cool. He started to lay down the elements of a successful business, and where he settled in on talking about distribution channels. And that was blowing our minds because he talked about how you guys have a strong service. And right, and what you have to do is you have to learn what your service, not what your service is, but what your service provides to your target market. He was using ideal client and target market. It fit like a glove. But then the key was, that's great, but then you must have distribution. And most of you, we identified right there at Money Matters, have no distribution channels. None. I mean, maybe you make a Facebook post every now and then. And he mapped out, what if you had 10 strong distribution channels? He also talked about Toys R Us and how that led to the demise. They had a brand, they had a product, they had terrible distribution channel. They did not stay up to date with their distribution channels. They outsourced it to Amazon and bam, they were gone. The strength and the value of a distribution channel. And he said, what if you had 10 distribution channels that were providing you 2 to 4 new clients every month? What would that be worth to you? And so then we did math. We calculated it out, and we figured out that every new client would be worth somewhere around $2,500. And so that would be about, just use the average CVA there. So that means that every distribution channel could be potentially pumping into you $2,500 up to $10,000 a month. And then he said, what would you have to do that? And how much time should you be investing in that? If one distribution channel, which he also called a center of influence, was able to deliver that to you, how much would that be worth to you? And then he revealed that the majority of you are spending the majority of your time in nonsensical things like admin, like, your QuickBooks and, running the show and buying, new toner. And how much is that worth? And then he talked about how it would make smart to invest heavily in your distribution channels in order to create a strong business, because every hour invested in a distribution channel is worth somewhere between $2,500 and $10,000 the hour. And we were blown away. And then he worked through behavioral economics, and he blew our minds with several studies about how people make choice. And he talked about how when people get overwhelmed, they make bad choices. He cited us all kinds of really cool research projects that were done that looked at how people price pointed, how they chose, and it wasn't even Money Matters. Now we're in marketing and sales and the things that we do and how we can give people options, but how many times you guys are giving people options that are hurting you. He talked about hyperbolic discounting and how people normally apply a 70% discount to something when it's off into the future. He gave Lacey the option of taking $10,000 from him today or $20,000 in 2 years. And he said the majority of people will take the $10,000 because they apply a 70% discount to the delayed gratification on the 20,000. But many of you sell into the future, and you don't realize that people are discounting future possibilities and potential. And you have to take into account hyperbolic discounting. And then we talked about how you could leverage hyperbolic discounting in negotiation. For those of you that are mapping out negotiations on leases, and how a landlord would apply hyperbolic discounting to a 5-year lease. If you asked for 6 free months on the back, that's different than asking for 3 months free on the front. And if you were on a renewal, you could stack, and we cited an example of Addison, how he stacked 6 months free on the back end of a 5-year lease, and how hyperbolic discounting by the landlord caused the landlord to take the offer, and the landlord's going to be happy until he hits a 6-month dry run. Oh, that stuff was super powerful. Then we talked about money effects. We talked about money effects, so the effects of money, but then we talked about the effects of money. And we talked about how you needed to be energy rich. And then we talked about strategies to create energy rich situations when we're dealing with money. We talked about goal setting and rewards. We talked about morning routines and discipline. We talked about surrounding yourself with people that would create money effects and help you to draw money into your life. We talked about the psychology of student loan debt. We talked about how we are conditioned, most of you, from your past. And we did this exercise actually at the very beginning, where we asked you to think about your first thought of money. And we shared our first thoughts, our first realizations, and we looked at how that shaped how you view money today. And then we also talked about how probably one of the most important things that you could pass on to your children is how they view money, and how you need to be careful as a parent that you might be shaping your child into having warped views about money that will shape them into eternity as it has for you. And then we talked about ways out of that. That sounds pretty dang good. That's all we did. Yes, we talked about money is equal to my own natural energy yield. My own natural energy yield, and how you had to be energy rich. You know those energy negative people, they're sucking from you. Get rid of them because they ain't got no money. People that have money, we talked about how when you walk in a room and you can notice the presence of somebody, not because they're dynamic and full of bundled energy, but because they are energy rich and good things happen to them. And you look at them and say, why do you always get the good breaks? Why does everybody want to work with that person? We told you, because they're energy rich. And we gave you some tools on how you can be energy rich. Hey, man, questions, throw them up. Throw them up on the screen here. We got a lot of you on. We got 38 of you on. Super thankful for you guys for joining us. If you came in late, make sure you hit the recap. I just broke it all down, but I'll take any questions that you have. Thanks, Dan Bay. Dan Bay posted the event for you to get registered, closed for Chiro. Make sure that you do that, please. You're going to love it. It's going to be amazing. Hey, Jeffrey in Melbourne. He's rocking out there in Australia. Dan rocked out the 6 Ps. You don't know where you want to go. You can't get there. We talked about the GPS. Listen, man, we absolutely crushed that one because that's what we do in BDC. And you were at home. A lot of you were at home. I don't know what you're doing, jerking around, but you weren't making money. That's what I know. We talked about scotch and milk. Don't drink that. That's disgusting. I thought that was the drink of really fancy rich people because one of the guys drank that. Yes, we gave 2 formulas, 2 magic formulas. We gave the formula on how you could get to stack on an additional $20,000 a month in revenue in the next 6 months. And then Andrew Norman came in and gave us the formula to double your revenue and triple your profits over the next 12. Couple those 2 things. Oh, man. That's a mega winner. Let's see, talk about the tools to become energy rich, your morning discipline, your morning routine, your evening routine. We talked about staying off of inbox. I gave you my tools, the system that I use with Ashley. I don't look at emails anymore. I just don't get, that Ashley handles them. They come to me on a spreadsheet. I probably get maybe 5 or 6 things that I need to handle on any given day. Throughout entire Money Matters, I didn't look at one email. We talked about that. We talked about Facebook, limiting that. I come on Facebook and look at BDC. That's it. I don't give a crap what everybody else is doing, what you had for dinner, because that stuff's energy negative to me. Right. And so I want to be fueled by you guys. And so select your group, select what you're seeing, be very, very selective about what you are allowing to come in. We talked about maybe if you, in your goals, you notice that you needed to read, and you might create a reading list, not somebody else's reading list, your reading list. And we talked about project and time management, the book of Yet, passing over into my list, my action items, how I schedule my day. Those are all ways that I stay super energy rich. Listen, man, I played a round of golf today, but I'm still getting stuff done, right? Because I am super effective and efficient with my time. I don't work harder than everybody. I work harder than Shawn. Yeah, I get it, but nobody works more efficient and effectively than me. I am ridiculously disciplined with my time, what we're doing and what we're getting done, to make sure that we're getting everything done on time. Top energy drain, I would say Facebook. We talked about that. Eliminate Facebook in your inbox as your first 2 items up for the day. Most people wake up and the first thing that they do is check Facebook and inbox. We talked about how we could leverage that so that the dum-dums are seeing your message. So you should be sending emails, using your autoresponder, sending messages out in Facebook ads, because they're checking it first thing in the morning, which also gives you a clue when those things should be hitting their inbox, by the way. But you don't do that because you're not a dum-dum. You don't look at Facebook and your inbox. Hold off as long as you can. Realize that every time you look at Facebook and inbox, you better hear me saying that you're a dum-dum, and realize that when you look at an inbox, when you go to your inbox, you are automatically assuming other people's agendas. Your inbox is just full of crap that other people want you to do right now, and then you fall into the trap of doing it. That's why I don't look at it. I wake up, I have my day planned, I get my stuff done. People that are writing me an email, they don't get to just interrupt my day and get me to get off track and do their thing. That's the top energy drain. Top energy fueler, all kinds of things. We talked about our regimen with health. You've got to be mindful of your nutrition, your exercise. We talked about the wackadoodle junk that we do, like cryotherapy. I'm going to go hit up some cryo this afternoon. Infrared sauna, float tank, whatever it is, you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself so that you have, I'm not trying to live forever, because, Tom Bill used, I want to live forever. I'm not trying to live forever. I'm doing this stuff because I want to be hyper effective. We talked about how the world revolves around you. We talked about having a realization of how many people depend on you. I can't be getting sick. I can't be, neglecting myself, because then a lot of people are impacted that way. All of those, Navpreet, all of those things you can implement now. And we talked about student loans. Student loans is a $250 investment in me. If somebody came to you right now and said, how much would I have to give you to take a 10% stake in you lifetime? What would the number be? And you're telling me, so you sold yourself a 10% stake in yourself for 250 grand. They got off cheap. You let that go cheap, because that's probably a million or a $10 million price tag to take 10% of me for the rest of my life. And I sold that for $250,000. But here's the great thing. If I just give them back 10% of what I make, I can make them go away. But at any moment, I can make them go away for $250,000 with investment in me. It wasn't even my money. Somebody just staked me. We talked about how that's like you bankrolling a really good poker player at the World Series of Poker, bankrolling $5 grand of their 10 grand entry fee and them winning the thing, and you taking half of the winnings, right? But this isn't the case, because they're staking you at 250 grand and they're taking nothing. They're taking their 250 grand plus 5% interest back. Imagine that they said, listen, 250 grand of you is worth 10% of you, and I want 10% of everything you make for the rest of your life. That would actually be a better deal for the government. The government free-rolled and bankrolled you. This is not something to hate. You're nuts. If I just give you 250 grand to open another business, but I only want 250 grand plus 5% back, you should take that money every time, because I wouldn't give you that deal. If I was giving you 250 grand to open your business, I'm going to own 50 or more % of that bad boy until you buy me out. I'm not going to let you just make loans. I'm not a bank like that. So think of it that way, and then you'll see, man, it's a lot. And as a student, you got to have that mindset. Don't take their free roll money and buy cars and stupid stuff. Take that free roll money and invest it in yourself. Get smarter, gain advantage on your competitors. Make yourself get out ahead of the world. Take some technique courses. Get real serious about your philosophy. Get real locked in on your mindset. You'll be way ahead of everybody else. And they all have a $250,000 loan, by the way. So that's not what's going to be the difference of whether or not you have it or not. The difference is going to be how you think about it. All right. Can you explain to everyone why we should hang out with people who challenges vertically? You're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. Most of you hang out with, because you're in BDC, people that are at your level or below you. You need to be hanging out with people that make you super uncomfortable. You need to be hanging out with people that have way more money than you, because you need to see how they navigate the world. You need to be observant. Don't open your mouth. Keep your mouth shut and observe how successful people navigate the world. And don't be envious or jealous. They got cool stuff and you don't, but that's because they earned it. Nobody gave it to them. And so you need to be challenged vertically, not even just by people saying, hey, I'm challenging you, but just getting sucked up in that wake. You know, we talked about how Jonathan and Kayla went to Capitol Grill with Lacey and I and a group of docs, and they didn't know we were going to pick up the tab, and how they were like looking at the menu saying, oh my, never seen a $50 steak before. But then they quietly said to themselves, listen, we're hanging out with these guys. Let's do it. We got to learn what that feels like a little bit. And so they ordered their meal, and Lacey and I picked up the tab, and it made us feel good because we're able to. You know, we talked about that too, giving back, because other people picked up your tab, and when you got a little bit of money, you pick up theirs. But you gotta push yourself. And they pushed themselves that day. They were like, we're not going to order just nothing, salad. They ordered, and they thought they were going to have to pay for it. And they were challenging themselves to think a little bit bigger. And Jonathan shared how he called his mom and said, Mom, I ate a $50 steak. And his mom was like, a $50 steak? What kind of steak is that? But in reality, that's not the cheap, that's not the most expensive steak out there. There's way more expensive steak, but you've got to be pushed to be in that environment to experience that. I remember I was in Australia with Billy Chow, and we were looking at a $7,000 bottle of tequila. I was like, whoa, who is a $7,000 bottle of tequila? We talked about the Penfolds Grange that I wanted to buy and how we conditioned that, how Lacey had obligated me to have delayed gratification, and she assigned it to a certain goal, a professional and a personal and a prosperity goal, all tied into one, and told me, don't buy it yet. Buy it when you achieve the goal. And I was like, oh, I love it. I love it, because I know we're going to hit the goal, and I know we're going to get that Penfolds Grange, and I know it's going to be amazing. And I got to tell you, it's going to be way more amazing drinking Penfolds Grange when it's anchored to the accomplishment of the goal than if I would have just bought it. When do we have to purchase Money Matters by? We don't have currently an end date yet right there. We don't keep things out indefinitely. We'll let you know too if we're going to end that. What book am I reading? We just ordered Switch. Andrew Norman recommended that, and I saw that is on its way coming in. Lacey ordered that. Can I elaborate on distribution channels and how to streamline distribution channels? That would be centers of influence. People like medical doctors. It would be like the hair salon. You guys are not exploiting that enough. You're just like, oh yeah, the hair salon. No, like you got to go. Could you have lunch with the hair salon owner every month? Could you afford an hour a month to sit down with them and buy them lunch to understand who they're serving? And listen, the thing on distribution channels and centers of influence is you must service the same people, and they must be able to provide you qualified clients and vice versa. Right. And so we talked about keeping up with them and making sure that they're still servicing those people. And if they are not servicing, then they're no longer a distribution channel and they get bounced. It's a fancy way of saying gang of five. For many of you, I've been saying gang of five. It's in Book Yourself Solid. And it's just like, hey, it's Shawn doing another dang Facebook Live. And then Andrew Norman called it distribution channels or centers of influence. And everybody's like, holy smokes. And that was just a 10-man gang of five, a double gang of five, and a 10-person gang of five. And he called it a distribution channel. You're not being serious and locking in your distribution channels. You're not investing into your distribution channels. Mel left out with a commitment there of she was going to identify 7 strong referral partners and immediately gift them something super special. I mean, that's what you do, right? You want to make sure that you're locking those bad boys in and that you're actually doing everything you can to make them distribution channels. They're bringing you clients in the service world. They're influences, centers of influence. a financial advisor that's advising all of your target market. That's a center of influence. And they know their clients, whether they or not they have the money to pay for your particular service. They're not going to send you dum-dums. They're going to send you highly qualified candidates. A banker is another massive center of influence. You're just like, that's my banker, but you're not leveraging them. You're not bringing and taking your banker out to lunch once a month. You're not making a commitment. You're not being decisive, and you're not investing money where it should be invested. You guys are super trying to invest money in Facebook ads. And I love my Facebook ad guys. But I got to tell you, if you don't have your centers of influence and your distribution down, that's just a waste of dang money and time. A Facebook ad ROI cannot ever compete with a very strong distribution channel that's pumping into you 2 to 4 new clients consistently every month. The problem is that you're playing small. You're playing small and you're not really developing your distribution channels. You're like, yeah, I tried that shit. But no, you didn't. You're just trying to take the easy way. You think Facebook ads are easy. They just generate a whole gob of highly unqualified people. A $29 dumb discount of people that click on that stuff, that's not a highly qualified individual. Your financial planner that talks to 28 people in your community, all of whom have a net worth of over $1 million and sends you 2 clients, those are highly qualified individuals. And that ROI on that hour with that financial planner will kill your Facebook ads all day, every day. And I'm not saying don't do Facebook ads, but I'm saying invest wisely. Oh yeah, by the way, then Andrew Norman broke out the economic clock. And he talked about how you need to know when to invest. And you need to know what time it is. Not only what time it is in our country, in your country, wherever you are. We've got BDCers all over the globe, but where your country is on the economic clock, but where your business is as well. There's times to hoard cash. There's times to reinvest back into your business. There's time to extract cash. There's times to be investing outside of your business. There are times to be looking at life insurance and mutual funds and investing in that way. There's times to be buying property, and there's times to not be messing with that stuff. That's why you need great advice, and you need a financial planner that not only knows what time it is on the economic clock, but what time it is in your business. You need a financial planner that understands being an entrepreneur and how to read your business, your P&Ls, your balance sheets, so that they can tell you when you should be acquiring another company. Jay told me you got to acquire a new company or offer a new service every year. Well, we went crazy on that, but you need to know when you can do that. You need to know when it's time for you to be acquiring another company. Not just because I said it on a live. You've got to sit down with some smart people and figure out if that's where you're at in your particular business. Lance is already listening to Switch. Says it's full of great insight. Yep, jump on Switch. Coach people on it all the time, like Brandon. Jack's out of here. Economic clock. Let me give away some stuff real quick. All right. Somebody share a takeaway from this call. This live. I want your biggest takeaway from this live. We got 43 of you on, and you are going to get a Money Matters recording. If you already got the Money Matters recording coming to, but you want to share, just say I already got the thing, and you can share it. Somebody share a takeaway for that, a Money Matters recording. The Money Matters Tumblr is going to be to the person who can identify 3 distribution channels that you're committed to implementing in your business. 3 distribution channels that you're like, boom, I got it. 3 distribution channels. You need 10. Give me 3 distribution channels. And I'm going to give you the Money Matters Tumblr. If you already have one, just say, don't pick me. I'm just sharing. All right. For the next one, I want you to share a purpose goal. A purpose goal, that's for the sales recording. If you share a purpose goal, you got to light this screen up. I need my screen to be like going nuts over here, nuts on this. Share a purpose goal, you get the sales recording, and then I've got 2 entries. So make sure that you can go to either one of these that you're competing for. If you can't and you're sharing, great, no big deal. Next is a ticket to go to Mile High entry. That's coming up in a couple of weeks. So make sure that you can hit this up. Make sure that you can actually be there. For Mile High, let's see. Let me look at my notes here. For Mile High, I want you to share why do we write down all of the reasons why we are not going to hit our goals? why we are not going to hit goals. That's for Mile High. And then finally for ChiroFest, I want you to write down, no cheating, no cheating, no cheating, ChiroFest tickets. What time? You got to Google the economic clock. And what time do you think it is right now? What time is it on the economic clock? What time is it in the United States? Now, if you are in another country, you got to put your country. So Sweden, and then you could put the time that it is in Sweden. But I want you to write what time you think it is. I'm going to give ChiroFest tickets to them. So here's what we got. Share a takeaway. We're going to give away a Money Matters recording. Share 3 distribution channels. We're going to give away the Money Matters tumbler. This thing rocks. This is amazing. People are loving that. Share a purpose goal. That's putting you in contention for the sales recording. Share why it is that why we write down for all of our goals why we won't make it. That'll get you in contention for a Mile High entry. And then share what time you think it is on the economic clock. And that will put you in the running for a ChiroFest registration. All right. Well, we did almost an hour here. Well, we're at 46 minutes. Super thankful for you guys. I want to wrap up again by telling you, listen, man, be decisive. We have very few seats left in the room for our BDC marketing workshop. We hype this up because it's that good. It's a Thursday, Friday workshop, and then Saturday we hang out at the pool. We drink pina coladas. It's at the Waldorf Astoria. You want to talk about vertical challenge. It's at the Waldorf Astoria in Boca Raton. You want to know what that's like. I mean, step out there and be decisive. I mean, I remember Mandy saying, I booked my room. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. Well, we got 4 months. Work some BDC concepts. Let me help you. Don't buy your dang room and not do anything, but buy your dang room and listen to the podcast, implement, message me if you're having a difficulty, figure this out. We're going to get you to the Waldorf Astoria, but you got to do, people don't just fall out of the world, but dude, out there, last time we were at the Waldorf Astoria, they had I think it was the Lamborghini driving experience or something. There was like 20 Lamborghinis parked out front that you could take for a test drive. You want to feel what that feels like. You want to know what success feels like. The after party, the Friday night dinner at the Waldorf Astoria that we put on, and that is included in your registration, is killer. We got a great spread. We eat great food. We live it up after we've taught you everything that we need to teach you. And then the next day we go to the pool and we hang out. We make sure that you don't have any questions, that everybody gets everything done. And we've got a new format that's going to ensure that you actually complete your 2019 marketing plan. It's not theoretical. It's a workshop. And we're going to give you time to actually work on that and get that actually done. Register now. If you want the Money Matters recording, get that as well. Be decisive. Be decisive. Be decisive. All right, everybody. You can continue to post up your takeaways, your answers to the questions. I am going to post the winners in the title. I'm going to edit the title. I will tag you. I'll tag all of the winners, and I'll make sure that Ashley gets your prizes out to you tomorrow. Everybody, thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for being a part of BDC. We do think about you all the time. Have a great day.